Brought to you by businessblueprint.com.au.
We take our family for granted. We take our loved ones. We take our mateship. We take our best friends, we take them for granted. Because I can tell you something now, when I was in hospital for 5 months, the doctor said to me initially, they said, Sam, you'll never be able to walk ever again. You'll be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. Look, Sam, we understand that you used to do a lot of theatre and all that. You used to teach people how to do backflips. You'll never be able to do that ever again. You'll be in a wheelchair for the rest of... Look, Sam, we understand that you've been playing the guitar ever since you were 7 years. You'll never be able to play the guitar ever again. You've lost your most dominant arm. And then they said this, they said, Sam, we understand that you have 2 little girls. You'll never be able to walk them down the aisle on their wedding day. You know, I can tell you something now that was hard. It was really hard. But someone said something to me when I was in hospital, and I still remember it to this day. And they said this, they said, Sam, it is your decision, not your condition, that determines who you are. And you know, I'm thinking about that for a second. Guys, it's so true. It is our decision, not our condition. You know how we all have got these conditions on our life? My condition is a lot more physical. You can see my condition. Well, we've all got these conditions, whether or not it's loneliness, whether or not it's doubt, whether or not it's financial, whether or not they're relationships. I don't know what goes on in your world right now. I don't know that when you are all by yourself, that doubt that you might feel, those times in your life where you just want to give up. I don't know what goes on in your world, but one thing I do know, it is not your condition, but it's actually your decision. It's your attitude towards that. You know, this guy recently came up to me and he goes, Sam, I have so many problems. He said, Sam, I have so many problems in my life. He said, Sam, I've got so many problems at home. Me and my wife, I think we're going to split up. That my kids don't want to talk to me anymore. I've got problems with my car. It always seems to break down, maybe because I don't get it serviced. I've got problems at work. I think my boss is going to, fire me. I have so many problems. Help me with my problems. And I said to him, would you believe I've only just left over 1,000 people with not a problem, not a worry at all in the world. And this guy goes, where, man? I want to go and hang out with these people. I've got so many problems. Whereabouts are they? And I said to him, it's the graveyard down the road. You know, problems is a sign of life. If you have no problems, get down on your knees and ask for problems. Because problems define our character and who we are. If you look at some of the most significant people on the planet, some of the biggest billionaires, some of the biggest sports stars, some of the biggest celebrities, a lot of them have way more problems than you and me. They've learned to overcome those problems, pick themselves up, and continue to move forward, no matter what. You know, people regularly ask me, they say, Sam, how did you overcome your problems? You know, recently I was over in India and I was speaking with a very good friend of mine. His name is Nick, and we were speaking on stage in front of about 20,000 people. And this guy, Nick, right, get this. He is one of the most positive, one of the most happiest people I've ever met in my entire life. Yet he was born with no arms and no legs. Wait. Let's get this into perspective. You've probably seen this guy on 60 Minutes. He's written a book, Nick Vujicic. Wait. Let's get this into perspective. Here is a guy that was born with no arms and no legs. Yet he's one of the most positive, one of the most happiest people you've ever... And here we are. We complain about the little things that go wrong in our life. Guys, get perspective. Here is a guy that was born with no arms and no legs. Sometimes we need a bit of a reality check in our lives. You know how we've all heard of that term, bounce back? Oh, look how we're bouncing back from the global financial crisis. Look how we're bouncing back from the natural disasters. Look how we're bouncing back from terrorism and all these type of terms around bouncing back. There was even a big article in the newspaper down in Tasmania, the bounce back guy from his accident, which were the actual headlines. You know, I have a problem with that term, bounce back. I'll show you why. Imagine this, right? So imagine this is you. And you're slowly moving forward, you sort of have your ups and downs, but you continue to move forward as an individual, personally, but also as a business. And then suddenly over here, you hit what we like to call a crisis. You have to excuse me, I used to be a dominant right-hander, but now all of a sudden using my left hand, still getting used to it. And suddenly we hit a crisis, yeah? We all know what I'm talking. And then suddenly we have this thing which is called a downturn. Yeah? And then down here, then suddenly we actually hit a thing which is called rock bottom. This can be in our personal lives. This can be in our business life. Whenever we have a downturn or a problem, and then suddenly we hit rock bottom, we think, man, we just need to get out of this. And then suddenly we are told, and it's such a culture now that we're actually told to bounce back. Bounce us back to this place that got us to the problem in the first place. So imagine this. So here I am, right? I'm hitting rock bottom, I'm trying to move forward, and then suddenly I'm focused on bouncing back to that place that got us to the problem in the first place. So I actually don't talk about bouncing back. I actually talk about bouncing forward. Because when we're bouncing forward, we go into a complete mode that we've never been before. So suddenly we have to start thinking innovatively. We have to start thinking creatively. We've never been there before. Because so often, whenever we have crises, we're actually focused on getting us back to where we were, when really there is an entire future there that is yet to be created. We need to stop bouncing back and actually look at the principles of bouncing forward. One of my bounce principles is actually called this. It's crisis moments create opportunity. What do I mean by that? Do you know there was a 34% rise of Australian millionaires in the middle of the global financial crisis? If you actually a big buzzword in the corporate community right now it's called adversarial growth. Which basically means through our most difficult of adversaries, through our most difficult of times or trauma or whatever that can actually ignite some of the greatest of growth periods in our life.
Brought to you by businessblueprint.com.au.